all try to live up to expectations, and I think that is now become synonymous with trying to impress. Even I'm capable of this. So how can you not do that?
Is people are not drawn towards people who are always trying to impress, but people are drawn towards people who get impressed by the opposite person. So instead of being interesting, be interested. If you can't influence yourself, you cannot influence others. And that's because self-respect does not come from you looking into the mirror and saying, oh my God, I'm a rock star, oh my God, I'm so powerful, oh my God, I'm so brilliant. It comes by giving yourself undeniable evidence that you stick to your promises. Make a small promise today, whatever it is. I'll drink a glass of water tomorrow first thing, or I'll go for a 10-minute walk, or I'll say hello to everybody that I meet, and just fulfill that promise. Just stick to that promise. And the more you stick to your promises, the more you will find it comfortable to sit with yourself and not feel shame or embarrassment or guilt.
So do you ever feel that you are the background noise in every conversation? People are only listening to you when it matters to them, when it doesn't matter to you. Do you feel like a doormat at work or at home in your personal relationships? Well, if you have these questions in your mind, then probably it's time you get a hold of this book, which has been written by Ankur Warikoo. He's with us today to speak about your life's challenges and, most importantly, the boundaries that one can set for themselves. Well, it's a delightful book, and I read it over the weekend. Thank you so much. It's extremely relatable.
Thank you.
You have spoken about influence, and that I think is one of the first few chapters.
Correct.
What is influence? Your DP also says that
A wise man once said nothing.
Nothing. So what does it really mean?
It really means that you don't have to exert pressure or command to get somebody to listen to you, because the minute you stop doing that, they'll stop listening to you. Influence for me is when people respect you even when you're not in the room, when they think highly of you and think right for you in a way that works for them and works for you as well. And in my experience, Sneha, the best way to exert influence is to genuinely wish well for the other person, not try to backstab them, not try to get the most out of it for yourself while leaving nothing for them. And that is possible because the world has enough for everybody.
You've spoken about boundaries, and you've touched upon boundaries at work in this book. Talk to us about why is it important to have boundaries in every aspect of your life, at home and even at work?
Because when you say yes, when you actually wanted to say no, you become resentful. And resentment is an extremely toxic trait to house within, because what it ends up doing is you somewhere down the line start wishing bad for the person opposite to you.
True.
You almost feel like, I wish they could fail, I wish they didn't succeed, I wish that something bad happened to them, because you have this growing thing that you can't fully explain. But resentment is fascinating for me, because it doesn't come because you have said yes. It comes because you've said yes when you wanted to say no. But you were somehow forced to, or you felt obliged to, or you felt guilty for saying no. And that's where boundaries come in. It's your way of exercising a certain condition, a certain boundary, saying this is what's acceptable, this is what's not.
But there's a dilemma, and it's not very easy, because in my experience, I'll tell you, each time I say no, I'm called difficult. Has that happened to you as well?
Several times.
You don't want to come across as difficult, right?
You don't want to.
Yes.
So I came up with a hack, and this has really worked for me. It doesn't work always, but it's fascinating how often it works. Instead of saying no, ask permission to say no. Let me explain what that means. So let's say you come up to me, Sneha, and you're like, hey, are you free this Saturday? There's something that showed up. Can you come to office and whatnot? And you don't want to. Now, there's one way of saying, no, I can't do that. And you will be then termed difficult. Aise kaise, how can you not show up? You're not a team player, blah, blah, blah. And the second thing would be, hey, I already have some commitments that I'd planned for. Is it okay if I say no? Because when you ask for permission, it will really take a whole kind of a person to say, no, it is not okay for you to say no. It takes a very different order. And it's insane how often this works. I would say there's a 90% chance that this will work if you just ask permission to say no.
You know what I'm thinking, right? I'm so going to try it.
Which you should.
I'm so going to try
Which you should.
Seeking permission. So the other person is in a position then, in a difficult position to say no.
Exactly.
Then, right?
And you're not the one putting yourself in a difficult
You put the ball
position.
in their court. It's fun. stop trying to impress, is what you say. We all try to, live up to expectations, and I think that is now become synonymous with trying to impress. Even I'm capable of this.
Yeah.
So how can you not do that?
I wouldn't say that you can't do that or you do that. I do recognize that it's really, really difficult for you to not create a persona and impression in front of others. But the thing that has worked really well for me, and which is what I've spoken about it in the book as well, is people are not drawn towards people who are always trying to impress, but people are drawn towards people who get impressed by the opposite person. So instead of being interesting, be interested.
Okay.
So if I'm meeting you for the first time, one could be, hey, I've done this, and da-da-da. So you're showing off, you're trying to create a persona and impression. But the other thing would be, oh my God, I would love to know about you. So how long have you worked here? Where are you from? How many kids do you have? Do you enjoy your work? What's the best thing about you? And so on. Because that subconsciously tells the person, oh my God, this person is actually interested in my story. They're interested in knowing me. And that subconsciously makes you like the person a lot more than if you were just trying to get impressed by that person. So instead of trying to get interesting, try to get interested.
And one of the ways to do that is also to look at the person when you're speaking.
Oh,
Have
always.
you seen this? Has this been your experience? Because I'm always fighting at home that with my husband, whenever I'm speaking with him, he's not looking at me. And I think that's a big insult. Eye contact, it's the importance of eye contact in general. I think if you're not making eye contact, you're not interested in the person, right?
I wouldn't go as far, but I think when you make eye contact, it certainly tells the other person you are in the conversation. Absolutely.
And that is very important at work and otherwise as well.
Incredibly so. Like another small way of doing that is to name the person. It's just so powerful. The thing that's so personal to us is our name. So you could have a conversation for 2 hours without naming the person, or you could have a conversation for 5 minutes naming the person, and the person will remember the 5-minute conversation a lot more.
Do you do that?
I do that a lot.
Do you make an effort to remember names?
I consciously try to use the name of the person.
It makes a difference,
It certainly makes a difference. Certainly makes a difference.
You know, I've seen two types of workers. There'd be occasional brilliance, and you speak about it in the book as well. Suddenly they'll do this great thing, and then the rest of the year they'll be like a dormant volcano. They won't be doing anything at all. And then there are people who work, and they work it quietly, without making a noise about it. What works then for people in general? Like, what would you say is better?
So, the irony of the corporate world is that the occasional spark will always get noticed a lot more because it's just occasional, it's unexpected. But then what also tends to happen is that when they lose that spark, and now the way you described it beautifully, they just go in a slumber for the rest of the 364 days. People are like, yeah, nothing's happening. Well, ek hi thodi tha, one hit wonder. We really need something. But the other side is also not so cool, where you are working consistently the same way for 365 days and then expect to get noticed, because then you become like a blur. It's like our salaries, which the first month will be very exciting, but after the fourth month, they're like normal. REA, it's in the background. What I would highly recommend is that you have unpredictable behaviors every now and then. And when I mean unpredictable, I don't mean in the negative way, but in a positive way. So you sprint every 2 or 3 months, and you run like it's a 100-meter dash, and then you run like it's a marathon. And then every 2 or 3 months, you run like it's a 100-meter dash, and then again a marathon, so that occasionally people notice, oh my God, there's something that Sneha does every 2 to 3 months, which just catches their attention, and we cannot ignore her anymore. And then she works consistently, and then she shows up again with something brilliant, and then she works consistently again. That's the kind of people that, in my experience, flourish the most at work.
And we see this in our newsroom very often. No offense to people who may take it personally. Please, people, don't take it personally. But there are people who shout a lot, and they shout to get heard. I understand. But there are people who are not shouting, but they get things done. And I've seen this in our newsroom itself, What do you think works better?
I think it's a personal preference. For me, if you ask me, the quiet performer is always the one that I would love, because they're the ones who don't need to shout at the top of their voice saying, notice me, notice me, notice me. Their work is their loudspeaker, and I love those people a lot more.
This is something that I talk about a lot at home, okay? And I think to myself also, a lot of people find it very difficult to spend time with themselves, okay? They just feel the need to do something. There has to be something that they have to do. They don't enjoy their company. You know what I mean? why is that important? And when you speak of influence, why is that you need to influence yourself first? You know, you've mentioned that in your book as well.
Exactly. It's one of my favorite quotes. If you can't influence yourself, you cannot influence others. And that's because self-respect does not come from you looking into the mirror and saying, oh my God, I'm a rock star. Oh my God, I'm so powerful. Oh my God, I'm so brilliant. It comes by giving yourself undeniable evidence that you stick to your promises. That if you say you'll get up at 6 in the morning tomorrow, you will. If you go to the gym, you will. You eat right, you will. You will pick that phone, you will. You will show up at work, you will. Because consciously your brain needs that signal, oh my God, I make promises to myself and I deliver on those promises, I must be really good. And if you don't do that, then we're just like another machine who's making fake promises and never delivering. Now the first step towards influencing yourself is to sit with yourself. Because the way you can influence is to truly understand what are your motivations. Why do you show up at work? Why do you care about money? Why do you care about respect? Why do you care about visibility or about growth? And that will mean that without a phone, without music, without people, without a notebook, without a book, you just sit with your thoughts. And the one thing that you mentioned, which is people don't enjoy their company, I'll go a step forward and say it's not about enjoyment. People are actually scared of their company. They're scared of the thoughts that will emerge. They're scared of coming to terms with those thoughts because they don't want to know the real them because they may not like the real them. And they don't want to change because change is difficult.
True.
So I would say very simple steps. Make a small promise today. Whatever it is, I'll drink a glass of water tomorrow first thing. Or I'll go for a 10-minute walk, or I'll say hello to everybody that I meet, and just fulfill that promise. Just stick to that promise. And the more you stick to your promises, the more you will find it comfortable to sit with yourself and not feel shame or embarrassment or guilt or even nervousness. And that's the start.
Just show up.
Just show up. Just show up to your promises and make small to start with.
The other thing that you mentioned in your book, and I'm going to go back to this conversation about being a doormat, is the saint syndrome. You know, we've all been conditioned to not be selfish, to not think about ourselves, to put others first. You know? This is terrible.
It is.
And more so when it comes to women.
Absolutely.
You know, not so much men, because I think men are pretty selfish and I think it's cool, you know. So please tell us, why is it important to be selfish?
And I'll use the word differently. First, I 100% agree with you. I think culturally, we're just constantly told, put others before you put yourself. Women, more so others. Let them eat first and then eat later. Let them be served first, then you serve yourself. You be the nurturer, then you take care of yourself later, blah, blah, blah. And that just brings in this conditioning and this mindset that I cannot put my needs first. And if I do that, I'm being selfish. It comes from what I think is a zero-sum mindset. And a zero-sum mindset is that if somebody is to be served, then somebody has to not be served, because then the sum will always be zero. If somebody is winning, somebody has to lose, because then the sum is zero. And I believe that the world is not zero-sum, it's actually positive sum, which is you can take care of yourself and you can take care of others. You can attend to others and you can attend to yourself. It doesn't need to be a compromise. It doesn't certainly need to be a competition or a battle. So you could very well sit with everyone else and have the same meal while them enjoying it and you also enjoying it. Because you are at that point of privilege. Like, for example, people like us, we have help at home. So there isn't genuinely a need for anybody to be the late eater. The entire family can eat together, enjoy their meal, and attend to it equally. Nobody needs to be selfish. Nobody needs to do anything out of the ordinary. And the same way, because we have help at home, all of us can work. All of us can meaningfully contribute financially and also drive our own purpose. And there doesn't need to be a compromise where one stays at home and one goes and makes the bread. And I think that world, if we are part of that, should be 100% used, and the conditioning should not come into play. So being selfish is taking it to a whole new extreme, because that's like, oh, I will attend to myself and I not care about others. I feel it is being selfless, which is me, you, equal, and both of us can have what we want.
Coming back to boundaries, boundaries at work, again, more relevant to our profession and to others also, I'm very sure. How do you set boundaries? You know, like I said, we had this conversation about being difficult, and you did give me the solution to that. But very often, like in our job, sometimes it's very difficult to say no, you know. How does one set boundaries without coming across as difficult, as disrespectful, as, you know, not a team player? Because, you know, you have these impressions which are formed and they kind of last.
Exactly.
So how does that happen?
So think about it this way. When we buy a new gadget, it comes with a manual. The manual is largely about how the gadget is useful for you, but it also has very clear instructions on how it has to be used for it to be useful to you. That's exactly what everybody should have. Think of the first day when you showed up at the India Today network, which was 5 years ago. And what if you carried a manual with you, which is like, here is how to get the best out of Sneha. This is all that she has to offer, which is incredible, by the way, which is why I'm here and you've also accepted it. But it comes with these instruction sets. Because if you respect those instruction sets and not like bang the toaster to make it work or kick the microwave to make it work, you will get the best of what the gadget or the device or the service or the product has to offer. Now, of course, I'm not asking people to carry a manual around, but that's the impression that you need to build, which is, if you need the best of me and I have a lot to offer, here are the instructions to follow. If you ask me to work 7 days a week, you will not get the best of me. If you ask me to work for 14 days an hour, you will not get the best of me. If you ask me to just attend to every call, even at 2 in the morning, you will not get the best of me. I'm not saying that you can't do that. I'm saying if you want the best of me, if you want me to be the rock star that you chose me to be, and that's why you selected me in the first place, here is my instruction manual. And the sooner it gets done, the better it is. Because you can't suddenly throw an instruction manual after 5 years, after a year. Now that's where most people slip, because early on they feel, "Arey nahi, abhi to impression banana hai. No, we have to be all coy, we have to be all agreeable, we have to be all friendly, we have to be all subservient." But that's where I feel is the best time for you to have set that instruction manual. Don't call it a boundary, because that suddenly becomes very defensive and people are like, "Oh, boundaries like you're pushing us away or you don't want to be a team player," and it's what? No, it's just about, if you want the best of me, here are the sets of things that I work best at.
You know what happens? Most people, and this is not from the book, this is my thoughts.
Sure.
Most people, think that the work that they do, and especially in a 9 to 5, it's their life, you know. I keep telling myself, and I keep telling others also, that it's just a part of your life.
Exactly.
What happens is that most people forget about that. Isn't that like really sad?
True.
And that's why people sort of resent.
Yes.
And look at their regular job as slavery.
Which is because it consumes all of their mind. It's not just the hours that you spend at office, it's also the hours outside of office that you're thinking about work and constantly feeling stressed or anxious or certainly involved and engaged and active. And that's like you're always switched on. And I mean, today with the phone and emails and messages, everything, you're always connected. And our nervous system was not designed to be 24/7 connected. Our nervous system was designed to have moments of no action, and then moments of action, and moments of no action, and moments of action. But we're now constantly acting, and if work takes up 24/7 of our mind space, it's not always going to be the most amazing experience. And when it's not, you will feel resentful. Absolutely.
You know, you've spoken about stress also, and you've had a personal experience as well. What have you learned in your personal experience? Because I think most people nowadays, and I don't think I'm generalizing, I think it's the fact, everybody is just so stressed all the time, you know. So what is going on here, and how have you helped yourself? Tell us about that.
The biggest thing that's helped me is meditation. It's truly helped me calm down and be very mindful of where I am and what I'm feeling. Meditation is not a form of controlling your emotions, because nobody, in my opinion, can control their emotions. It's just a way of being aware of your emotions. So you know that you're feeling stressed, you know that you're feeling angry, you know that you're feeling anxious, you know that you're feeling anger. The realization of that emotion is a very important step to you managing that emotion well. And what meditation has taught me, at least in the last 8-9 years, I've not skipped a day for the last 6.5 years.
I hear that from a lot of people who meditate, that they can't move on in the entire day if they've not meditated for that 20 minutes in the morning. What sort of meditation do you do?
So I do not do any guided meditation. I listen to the sound of birds, water and air, and I listen to it for 30 minutes with my eyes shut, just focusing on my breath. And I've done it for now 6 years without missing a single day.
Okay.
And it's been
great.
transformational.
That's
Absolutely.
Great. What about the other things that you do? Because you also are pretty wired in. You are an entrepreneur. You're creating
Yes.
like amazing content.
I think the biggest thing is attending to yourself before you attend to others, which is
True.
pretty much what is about influence as well. So my morning routine is sacrosanct for me, and I love that. I meditate, I read, I play tennis, I go and work out, I read the newspaper. And it sets me up for the entire day, because once you've given to yourself and you've given energy to yourself, everything that consumes your energy, you have enough to give, you have enough to dispense, and that sets you up.
Time for yourself and time in the morning is a real flex, isn't it? I think that really is a real wealth.
It
if
is.
you have time.
It is. And I'd agree that very few people have that privilege, but those who have that, 100% should exercise it. Absolutely.
You've also been in news for your, 6-pack abs? 4-pack? I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
How did that transformation happen,
It was actually 12 years back when I was 33.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with this condition called avascular necrosis.
Okay.
It's called AVN. Don't look up AVN on Google, because the first result that comes up is adult video network, so you don't want to be doing that.
Okay.
But AVN blew up after COVID, because steroids is a big reason why AVN happens to humans.
Okay.
So the big reason is you're excessively smoking, drinking, or on steroids. None of three applied to me, because I've never done any of these three. So I was in the 10% that couldn't be diagnosed. But long story short, I went through a surgery. And after that surgery, I ran a marathon, a half marathon actually, because I wanted to tell life that I'm back and everything that I went through is over and so on. And I'll be honest, Sneha, the day I finished the half marathon, I felt like I had cheated. And the reason was because I ran it without preparing for it.
Okay.
I just ran it because it's 21 kilometers. You have to do it in 3 hours. It's 7 kilometers per hour, which is like brisk walking. So you can literally run for a few, then walk for a few, then run for a few and finish it. So it felt like I didn't have to prepare for it. I didn't have to change my life for it. So I asked myself a rather crazy question. What is it that I need to do for which I will have to change my entire life? Like everything that goes on, my diet, my routine and blah, blah, blah. And the answer at the age of 33 was 6-pack abs.
Okay.
So at the age of 33, I got 6-pack abs. And I went through an entire transformation of my life and so on. And then I promised myself that every 10 years, I will be at a fitness level where I can always get 6-pack abs. So my commitment to myself is at 43, at 53, at 63, at 73, or however long I live, I will always have 6-pack abs. So I turned 43 2 years back, and I got my 6-pack abs. And
amazing. And it gets even more difficult as you age.
Actually, it gets easier. It gets
How?
easier because you just stuck to that journey. Like you can't get 6-pack abs by just showing up. You have to follow a rigorous routine for a really long time, which is what I've been doing. I've been gymming and working out now for 12 plus years. I've been playing tennis, so I'm very active in that sense. And we eat right as a family. We work out really well. So I've spent a lot of time on my muscles, on my diet. So at any point of time, if anybody wants 6-pack abs from me, it'll take me maximum a month to get there. Because I can just show up with that.
There's we are speaking about eating right and all of that at a time when obesity levels in India are going through the roof, and the kind of food that we're eating now, actually not food, I call it junk. I mean, it is junk.
It is.
Anything in a packet,
in
my opinion, is not food. I want to ask you, what's your diet like? And what are you eating on a regular basis? And also the fact that eating just regular khana, it doesn't have to be so special.
Exactly,
it's so
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't.
Kind of solves all your problems, right?
Absolutely. You're so right on that. And now it could only come from somebody who's been a health enthusiast for a really long while. I'm a vegetarian, so there aren't too many options as well. And the biggest change that I made in my diet was go protein heavy.
Okay.
So I eat a lot of paneer, a lot of tofu, a lot of soya, a lot of dal. I do eat eggs, so egg white, but that's pretty much it. And you're so right. We have very basic khana. All of our veggies are organic. They are grown on a farm that we have rented out, which in big cities is now a thing. You can actually rent your farm and grow your own food. So all of our vegetables come from the farm. We don't buy anything from the market except fruits and staples like aloo pyaz. And we barely order in. I would say once every 2 months.
Okay.
We barely eat out, and even when we do, we go to really, really high quality places. So not junk, no fast food, nothing whatsoever, even for kids. And we barely eat packaged food. So all of that then comes in together. Like, so there are no beverages in the house.
Great.
There's no chai, there's no coffee, there's no soda.
That I don't know
There's
how you
like
manage.
like हमें आदत ही नहीं
It's a
लगी
culture
कभी.
shock.
No,
Chai, coffee
कभी नहीं. So that happened, and there's frankly nothing that is out of the ordinary. The only thing that my wife and I are still struggling with is we both love our sugar.
Oh my God.
And that
you
is
know, I
one
feel,
thing.
that's the only thing I do, and I keep getting like teased for it because I just love my mithai
I love my
and
mithais.
chocolates.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and I feel Indian mithais are so amazing, so amazing that like मुझे Western इतनी पसंद नहीं है, but I love Indian mithai. So जब भी डब्बा आता है, we're like, send it away. We can't keep it in the house. Exactly. We can't have this laddu every day. No, absolutely not.
You know, the other thing I want to talk to you about is something that I've also kind of experienced. We're all at a stage where our parents are growing old, right? And you've mentioned about your parents as well. Tell us a little about, how can all of us now not grow old the way our parents have grown old? You know, they really never prioritize their fitness. That generation believed in just, a morning walk and an evening walk.
That's it,
Why is it important to hit the gym, lift weights? Why is this important for women and for men, everyone?
I think the biggest reason is because our dietary consumption has changed so dramatically from what our parents used to. Our parents ate really well. Really well. True. Good quality ghee, good quality home food. There was no concept of eating out and ordering
in 2-3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was like celebration.
Exactly. It was a huge affair. Like हम बाहर जा रहे हैं and we are having something. Now though it's like a normal day and you're ordering in and everything like that. So because you are treating your body almost like a dustbin, you need to also then respect it. And the way to do that is, it's scientifically proven that your muscle mass is the biggest determinant of your health when you grow old, because we start losing muscle the fastest. And if your diet does not have a lot of protein, which is the component that helps build muscles, and if you're not working out, then you're essentially not helping your body at all. And the Indian diet is largely carbs and fat. It doesn't need to be, by the way. It was because we were very active, manual, physical labor work. We were working in the farms, we were toiling, walking. Now we're just sitting on our chairs in air conditioned, barely getting any sunlight. So many deficiencies. You do your blood work, you'll be surprised. Like vitamin B12, vitamin D, everything gone off the roof. So please lift weights. Doesn't need to be going to the gym or anything. You can do it with a bottle filled with water. You can do it with stretch bands. But please use beyond your body weight and eat a lot more protein. Whether it's dal, it's paneer, it's tofu. If you are a vegetarian, if you are a non-vegetarian, please have chicken, but don't have it in a processed format. Have your fish, have your anything. And just be conscious of your diet. If you take care of your diet, I think 80% of your work is done.
All right. Thank you so much. It was a delight speaking
Absolutely,
with you.
Sneha.
Of
Thank
course,
you so
this
much.
is the book that you should be reading, Winning People Without Losing Yourself. Trust me, it's going to answer many questions that you have in your head.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Sneha.
you. Thank you.
you.